Well, listen, London is the cultural capital of the world. One of the reasons why we are so good at culture is our diversity in terms of different influences, whether it's the subcontinent or other parts of the world, whether it's sports, music, arts and so forth. So we're keen to make sure we encourage more talent from the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh as well. And I'd ask anybody who wants to perform on the biggest stage, London, to speak to City Hall. What we're hoping after July the 4th is we've got a changing government, and I know Dhesi, the MP for Slough, is passionate about culture from the subcontinent, and he will be a voice inside the government, but also a voice in City Hall as well.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Yep, so just here.
देखिए फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट्स अ प्लेजर टू बी इन स्लाव मैं आया हूँ अपने भाई तानदेसी के लिए दूर से आया हूँ क्योंकि मैं क्यों आया हूँ कि ये इन्होंने जिस तरीके से जज्बे के साथ इन्होंने काम किया है स्लाव के लोगों को के लिए बेमिसाल है और मुझे बहुत फ़ख्र है कि मैं इनके साथ खड़ा हूँ शोल्डर टू शोल्डर ऐसे जो भाई जिस तरीके से वो ह्यूमन राइट्स के हवाले से बोलते हैं स्पेशली हमारी जो मुस्लिम जो कम्यूनिटी का जो इस्लामोफोबिया के वाले सबसे टॉप स्पीच पूरी पार्लियामेंट में तानदेसी की रही है और जैसे जो काम कर रहे हैं नुमाइंदगी कर रहे हैं इस्लाम के लोगों के लिए मैं समझता हूँ दोबारा जैसे इस्लाम के लोगों ने पहला भी एतमाद इनमें वो डाला था दोबारा फिर इनको मुंतखब करें और जैसे मैंने अपनी आंखों से देखा है इनके साथ पार्लियामेंट में जो रह कर इन जैसे पार्लियामेंटेरियन बहुत कम मिलते हैं बहुत हीरा आदमी है तो मेक श्योर यू सपोर्ट तानदेसी
बहुत बहुत मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ लॉर्ड वाजिद खान जी का देखिए हम या जो स्लाव इलाका है हमारा एक गुलदस्ता है एक मल्टी कल्चरल भाईचारा है यहाँ पर चाहे वो कोई मुस्लिम हो चाहे कोई सिख हो हिंदू हो ईसाई हो हर मज़हब के लोग यहाँ पर रहते हैं बहुत ही अमन शांति के साथ रहते हैं और मैं चाहता हूँ कि आगे से भी हम बहुत अच्छे तरीके से जो मैं आपकी नुमाइंदगी वहाँ पार्लियामेंट में करूँ जैसे पहले भी सब कम्युनिटीज़ को रिप्रेजेंट करता हूँ आगे से भी करूँगा और इसके साथ साथ हम चाहते हैं कि देखिए इंशाल्लाह लेबर की सरकार आएगी मुझे लगता है कि लोग बदलाव चाहते हैं 14 साल के बाद वो चाहते हैं कि कंजर्वेटिव सरकार से वो छुटकारा पाएँ और इस वक्त हमें एक बुलंद आवाज़ जो स्लाव से चाहिए जो कि लेबर सरकार से ज़्यादा जो फंडिंग और रिसोर्सेज हमारे शहर के लिए हमारे शहर की बेहतरी के लिए और जो हमारे यहाँ के रेजिडेंट्स की बेहतरी के लिए क्योंकि 14 साल से जो कंजर्वेटिव सरकार के कट्स की बदौलत यहाँ पर हमें बहुत सारे मुश्किलात का सामना करना पड़ा है लेकिन मैं आपको ये विश्वास ये भरोसा देता हूँ कि लॉर्ड खान के साथ जो हमारी लेबर सरकार के साथ हम स्लाव की बेहतरी के लिए पूरा काम करेंगे ताकि हमारा देश और भी तरक्की के रास्ते पे जाए
और एक आखिरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूँ जो हमारे बिलखसूस जो हमारे मुसलमान बहन भाई जो फ़लस्तीन के हवाले से वो काफ़ी वो देख रहे हैं क्या हो रहा है मैं उन कमरों में रहा हूँ उन रूम्स में जहाँ प्राइवेट जो वो होती है मीटिंग्स जिस तरीके से जिस बहादुरी से और जिस भरपूर तावन से ये काम कर रहे हैं फ़लस्तीन के ऊपर इसीलिए हमारी पार्टी का साफ मौक़िफ़ है हमारे सीज़ फायर चाहते हैं और फ़लस्तीन जो स्टेट उसको रिकगनाइज़ करना चाहते हैं ये हमारे पार्टी मंशूर में भी आप देख रहे हैं मीडिया में आ रहा है अभी तो फाइनलाइज होगा लेकिन ये आपको सबको कहना चाहता हूँ अगर सब इस्तीफ़ा दे बैठेंगे तो कमरे में कौन रहेगा जो फ़लस्तीनियों की आवाज़ कौन बनेगा और बाज़ दफ़ा मैं हमेशा हमारे भाइयों बहनों से कहता हूँ पार्टी के सिस्टम के अंदरून रहना चाहिए क्योंकि उसके सिस्टम के अंदर रहेंगे तो आप पार्टी के अंदर वो बेहतरी और मजबूत पॉलिसी बनाएंगे जो रिज़ाइन करता है जो आज़ाद रहता है वो ना पार्टी सिस्टम में रहता है वो आज़ाद क्या कर सकेगा
Which was the core issue?
These are the core issues of the population, the UK. I'll start again actually. Yeah. The core issues of the British people we know are bringing stability to the economy so that their income is more secure, that we tackle the cost of living crisis. So much damage that was done by Liz Truss and the other decisions that the Conservatives have made over 14 years. They have failed our country, they have failed our communities. And that's why now we want to see the NHS waiting list come down, why the Labour Party will have 40,000 new appointments every week to help with that, why we need to see our communities be safe with 13,000 new neighbourhood police officers after the Tories cut the police, making sure that we have green energy, homegrown green energy, keeping our energy bills low, making sure that we have teachers in our schools, 6,500 new teachers. But we also need a party that's got values. And Dhanmanjit Singh Dhesi also is a politician with deep values, Labour values of equality, of respect for each other, of humanity and of human rights.
Well, lastly, some people think the ceasefire will also be the main issue during this election. What do you think? And what is the Labour Party standing on?
The Labour Party has stood for a ceasefire. As you know, that motion was also passed in Parliament by us. First we had a motion in November and then we had our own motion in February. I know that Dhanranjit has also been a very strong voice for that. Sorry, do you want me to talk about Dhanranjit or general?
No, general.
Okay, why don't I just talk about
That's fine.
Yeah.
Generally,
Yeah.
that's fine.
It is absolutely essential that we see a ceasefire and that we see an end to the violence now in Israel and Palestine. And what's gone on with the humanitarian situation, the tens of thousands that have been killed, the impact on women and children, innocent women and children and men as well in Gaza, this is a war that must end. And that's why I'm so pleased that the Labour Party has also passed its motions in Parliament in November and also in February, where we are calling for a ceasefire, where we have called for upholding of international law, where we have called for Israel and Hamas governments, the two governments, to be accountable to the International Court, Criminal Court, where we have also said there needs to be recognition of Palestine and we need a two-state solution. You will not have peace for the long term without a political solution. This is what Keir Starmer has said, this is what the Labour Party stands for, and this is what I, as well, someone who has been to Palestine, went to Palestine last year as well, worked with so many and continue to work with humanitarian organisations. We know this is essential not just to peace in the Middle East, but to also in our world.
Thank you.
Is this one that was? Right, in the middle first.
1, 2, 3, thank you.
Okay, is there a big camera?
हमारे एमपी हैं, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे काम किए हैं स्लॉ के लिए। और सबसे बड़ी मैसेज मैं देना चाहता हूँ कि अगर कोई ये कहे कि रिलीजन की बुनियाद पे वोट लेना है या किसी और चीज़ पे बुनियाद पे वोट लेना है, कम्युनिटी को डिवाइड नहीं करना हमने। जिस पार्टी का प्रॉपर मैनिफेस्टो है, जिसका एजेंडा है, अगर आपको पसंद है उसे आप वोट दे दें। लेकिन मैं फिर अपने भाइयों से कहता हूँ, कोई भी काम जो है ज़ात पात के नहीं होना चाहिए। कम्युनिटी को हमने इलेक्शन के बाद भी हमने स्लॉ में रहना है, इलेक्शन के बाद भी हमने रहना, हम इकट्ठे रहें, मुतहदा रहें। और मैं ये रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि लेबर पार्टी का जो एजेंडा है, तन देसी ने जो काम किया है, प्लीज़ वोट लेबर, प्लीज़ वोट तन देसी।
Look at camera. जी सर क्राउड भी आना चाहिए ना। Cat, where is Cat? Where is Cat, our photographer? Just watch it. You might need to send this to us. I don't know where Cat is gone.
Don't worry, Joe, we'll send it to you.
We'll send it to you, don't worry. Cat.
Don't worry, we'll send it to you, don't worry.
This isn't the main picture, by the way. Wait.
Thank you.
Wait, 1 minute.
This one as well.
Okay, Sadiq, you want me to start? Yeah?
जो रिजर्व जो पहले बैग है
आ जा बैग।
एक सेकंड लॉर्ड साहब फोटो खिचाओ सिर्फ गल्लां बाद चो
साहब अजे मेन तस्वीर लगी अजे वो होनी है 20 मिनट बाद जब जॉन मैकडॉनल्ड आ गए हैं
मैंने मुबारकबाद दे दी है।
Myself and my family have been actions to ensure we end the disastrous 14 years of Tory misrule, and I want the new Labour government to act swiftly in tackling poverty, injustice and hate like Islamophobia. And when we talk about Islamophobia, we were very lucky to have the first turbaned Sikh MP who went to Parliament, and he was the one that held the then Prime Minister to account for his Islamophobia. With that,
Thank you for that introduction. Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal. Can I first of all say what a pleasure it is to be in Slough. I've travelled 232 miles, 4 hours. 4 hours this morning. And why have I travelled, brothers and sisters? Because I know that this man that you have as your MP at the moment is one of the finest examples of serving communities. He's a hero, not just to you people here, but to fellow parliamentarians. And it's a great privilege to be here alongside a great friend of mine, Seema Malhotra, who is equally active with energy, commitment, motivation. But I've also just let you know, without doubt, I am the junior Khan in this programme today. My older brother, I'm going to say this even though he looks younger than me, my older brother Sadiq Khan is here, and what a privilege it is to be here, because Sadiq has been a mentor and a friend and to many people, and to me personally it's an honour to be with the Mayor of London, and what a massive achievement to be the first person to win the Mayor of London 3 times. Give him a round of applause. I've come here because this is one of the most important elections in our generation. As has been seen over the last few days, we have huge issues, debates going on. For the example, people can't get their NHS appointments. People cannot get access to good public services. The trains are not working on time. There's a big issue around the state of our roads, the state of our economy. There's no growth. After 14 years of Tory government, I ask all brothers and sisters and respected elders that after 14 years of Tory government, ask yourself one question. Am I and my family better off after 14 years? What's the answer? No. What's the answer? No. That only moves towards one thing. Change. And in change, we need to see a Labour government after 14 years that sorts the problems out in terms of more teachers, sorts the issues out around about the gangs, about border control and security, so people do not get exploited, more teachers, more hospital appointments, and also bringing down the waiting time, as well as the most important point as well, the economy. We need to grow the economy. We need to ensure that our public services are better and fit for purpose, which we're not seeing today. I've been in that parliament, brothers and sisters, when Dhesi, as the young man mentioned, made that amazing. And this is how we are as a community. We celebrate diversity. That we had the first turban-wearing person in parliament making one of the fattest speeches to address the issues of Islamophobia. And that, he who Dhesi is, speaks for everybody. And this is what our party is. We want to make sure we'll knock every door, every street, every neighbourhood and every community. Will bring us all together to make sure that our country, our great country, here domestically is much better than it is now. We'll get more opportunities for our young people, better housing and better opportunities for people to get on that ladder. Also internationally, and I'll say a few words, and I know there's a great speaking list ahead of me. Internationally, I used to be in the European Parliament, and I've seen the way this government has handled Brexit, the way they've destroyed our reputation, our global presence, our power overseas because of how we have treated our neighbours, our other allied countries. And just look at a few days ago, what a national shame we had. How emotional, that was devastating to see our veterans, to mark our veterans event, the Prime Minister left early. That is what we've got. And I just want to finish off on a really important point. To all of our brothers and sisters who care about what's happening around the world. Palestine. Palestine, the Palestinian ambassador, I've seen Tan work very closely with. So the idea that there is no engagement going on, there's absolute engagement going on. That's why you see a clear difference between our lines and where the government's talking about. We respect the ICC judgment and the ICJ judgments. We respect the fact that Palestinians need to have their dignity, have a state recognised alongside a secure Israel as part of a two-state solution. And we also want an immediate ceasefire to ensure that the suffering ends. And we saw great leadership. And my final point here, because I think it's important to make, I have seen Tan, is that brother is well worth coming, not just 200 odd miles. I'll come 1,000 miles for Tan if I have to. Because this is the person, brothers and sisters, that when he goes to Parliament, he has one thing on his mind. How do I serve the people of Slough best? How do I make sure my community and other communities around the country are best served. He has been working in them important rooms. I've been there witnessing him when he's been talking about ensuring that the rights of the Palestinians are upheld and a peace is prevailed. And he's played a role there, not by only being in the front bench meetings and changing the policy and moving the policy and pushing the views of your constituents from within, but also working with the Palestinian ambassador to ensure that he can engage and find out what's happening on the ground. So thank you very much indeed. My Punjabi isn't brilliant. Lekin I will say something to all my Punjabi brothers and sisters. ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਾਡਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੈ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਾਵਨ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਜ ਵੱਜ ਕੇ ਭਰਪੂਰ ਤਾਵਨ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤਨ ਦੇਸੀ ਉਹ ਹੀਰਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਡਾਇਮੰਡ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੈਲਿਊਜ਼ he speaks with good values, he has good values and wants the best for all communities. So we need to get out to vote. सारे निकलोगे वोट पाने वास्ते? यार कितना तुसी बड़ा जज्बा ही कोनी निकलोगे वोट पाने वास्ते? Are we going to get 10 Dhesi elected in Slough? Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Sadiq Khan, namaste, assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon to everybody. And I also have travelled to get here, at least 10 miles. And I too would travel 1,000 miles to get here if I needed to for TAN. Because all of you here, so many from across our community, so many business leaders, so many community leaders, so many members and supporters of the Labour Party, you are here because you have seen the amazing work that TAN has done as the Member of Parliament for Slough. And you have seen the amazing leadership he has shown. You have seen the way his voice has been heard. A rebuilding of Gaza and a secure Palestinian state alongside a secure Israel. It was the day that the election was called that TAN was with me in a meeting with Medical Aid for Palestinians when we were asking them for the information on the ground to be able to raise that in the Labour Party and with the government. And with that, I'm able to come off the stage. So thank you very much.
Well done, Seema. 10 out of 10. I was asked on a beginning, are you going to speak? And I said, no, Shaban will speak. But here I am. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Habiballah. Waheguru ji da khalsa, Waheguru ji di fateh. जरा ऊंचा जे बोलो आवाज निकले वाहेगुरु जी दा खालसा वाहेगुरु जी दी फतेह. Everybody going to talk about politics. I'm going to talk about community. I have given my life to this town for the last 50 years. I was the one first to start community cohesion meeting. And I don't think Sadiq Khan will remember, once he was my guest with Fiona McTaggart. We worked very hard to build community cohesion in this town. Very closely with police, so keep Slough safe. I'm nearly 82 years old, and I'm going to make today very humble request from the bottom of my heart. Please, do not divide my community. Please. Booyar. And I'm going to surprise to you today. People will talk. I am involved with Khalsa school, and I know a lot of Muslim children goes there, and they come in with good result. Our chief say one thing: Slough united, when we'll stay united. Say that, Slough united. Thank you very much. I better go. Time to go now. Thank you very much. I got 1 more minute. Okay. I thought you were going to.
Ana Lodhi Saab can definitely speak, and for all of us. I would like to invite all the media onto the stage and they can take a group photo. Just one second.
Wait, let them.
Everybody just stay seated, please.
Right, look at Cat first, please, yeah?
Okay, Cat, you want to wave? Yeah.
Okay, waste of energy. After three, we're going to say vote Tan. Not after four, after three. Vote Tan, okay? 1, 2, 3. Vote Tan! Got it? Okay. Okay, one more. Okay. ले लिया ठीक है हो गया
in the British Parliament, well, we can give you a British Albanian passport first, and then can compete there. But the Albanian community is one that is up and coming. Of course, there are certain issues, but I don't want you to paint the Albanian community in the UK with what the Daily Mail and the others do, because there are a lot of Albanian citizens that are, in fact, the vast majority of them are law-abiding citizens. And on the 4th of July, they will vote for the Labour Party. Those that are here in Slough will vote for TAN. They'll vote for TAN of the Labour Party because we need a better NHS, better schools, a better taxation or fair taxation system, and a country that is a good friend in the international community. Albania and the United Kingdom are great friends. We are staunch allies in NATO and other international organizations. So please, all Albanian community, of course, I'll have my award with them, but vote for TAN here in Slough and vote for the Labour Party.
In terms of attacks from the Daily Mail, it means they're not attacking Muslims or Sikhs or Irish or anyone else. So I'd like to say thanks for taking the heat off us for a short period of time. And actually, you should wear it as a badge of honour. If the Daily Mail attacks you, you know you're doing something right. Is that true? The way they've tried to attack Sadiq thoroughly all the way through. Look, the reason I'm sorry I'm late, why have you got so many traffic lights in Slough? And to be honest, Slough is certainly not going green as a result of what's happening in the traffic lights. So I just want to say, the reason I'm here is because I'm here to support TAN. I'm so proud of him. When TAN first indicated that he was seeking selection in Slough, he got my 100% support. And the reason for that is I'd met him before. I'd met him in campaigns before, the work that he'd done. And what he came across as someone who's honest and principled, but above all else, dedicated and committed and incredibly hardworking. And he's shown that on behalf of this community. Someone should do a film of his highlights in Parliament because they're brilliant. He's taken down Tory minister after Tory minister and individual prime ministers, called them out for their failures, and actually also called them out for the racism that they've doled out as well. I want to thank him for that. I think we're like you. I don't take anything for granted. I don't take anything for granted. You're looking at someone who in 1992 lost by 54 votes on 4 recounts. I know every one of those 54, and I've been going back to them for 30 years to remind them. So I don't take anything for granted. But you know as well as I do, the way the Tory campaign is going, it's collapsing and we're going to get a Labour government, aren't we? The issue for us is what's the size of our majority. We want a good working majority. And the way Sunak has run this campaign, to be honest, with the traffic it was today, I've been stuck in traffic, and I thought what I should have done is just rung Rishi up and said, can I have the helicopter? Because you don't need it anymore. Your campaign is over. It's been a disaster from when he stepped out at number 10 and it started pouring with rain. Look, he's got a few bob. You'd think he could have afforded an umbrella, couldn't you, really? At least one. And then every time it's been a nightmare of a campaign. I've never been the general election campaign when you get to this halfway through the campaign virtually and the Tories are talking about replacing their leader. That's how bad it's got. And I have to say this week, we have to be serious about this. This week was a disgrace about what Sunak did in failing to participate. Yes, he went for the first day, but the second day was vitally important. Why? Because we were showing solidarity with the rest of world leaders, and yes, for Ukraine in particular, we were showing solidarity, and our Prime Minister was not there. That was an absolute disgrace as far as I'm concerned. When people call for support, you naturally give it, and the Ukrainians have called for our support, and for him not to be alongside Zelensky, I thought was appalling. So I think his campaign is virtually over, and you saw the debate last night. The fact that they keep inventing figures. We've had this before. We had it in 92, the tax bombshell. We had it in 97, it didn't work. And then we had process. But we're also in favour of ensuring those who committed war crimes are held to account. That change in Labour's position, the learning experience, was as a result of the courage of MPs like Tan stepping up and saying, well, just speaking the truth. So I want to thank him for that, because I think it's put us in a tremendous position now.
Just to introduce myself, for those who don't know me, I'm Councillor Christine Hume, and I'm acting as Tan Dhesi's agent for this election. He's had his moments. Well, what I'm actually here for is actually is to introduce one of our guest speakers today, of course, Sadiq Khan. And Sadiq, I remember Sadiq before he was this suave, photogenic individual you see before you. It was on the Mayor of London election 3 times. I remember Sadiq's name in the early days when he was a lawyer, Christian Fisher Khan. And I remember as a trade union official in London scratching our heads because we had a trade unionist victimised. We had no money to fight this case. The union wouldn't fund us. Where are we going to go to get help? Because we knew this guy needed help in terms of victimisation at work. And we had to raise money, little gigs all over the place with a begging bowl. But we went to their firm, they didn't ask us for a penny until they looked at our case, knew we had a case to fight, and then let us, thank God, pay in instalments for that legal advice. So I'd like to thank you for that, Sadiq. And people should never forget where people come from, because where people come from determines where they're going.
I've got to say, Christine didn't pay all the instalments. And that's why I'm here. Well, can I say it's an absolute pleasure to be here when my dear friend Tan invited me to elite banqueting suite. I thought it was for a wedding. And then he said, actually, no, listen, Sadiq, can you come along and speak to a few friends of mine? And I came and saw hundreds of people who are here today. It's so inspiring. As John, you missed a speech from Mr. Lodi, who gave a really impassioned imploring of us not to allow people to divide our communities. And I think John has articulated how inspired we are as we look around this tent. Can I call it a tent? This posh tent. Oh, this is from in Tooting, we call this a posh tent. But a marquee, and the diversity of those around this room is remarkable. And that's a testimony to our values, but also your Member of Parliament, Tan Dhesi. I want to talk about Tan Dhesi in a few moments, but can I just say this, look, we have somebody who's travelled all the way from north, he explained from 200 miles. And I know when Lord Wajid Khan was speaking, Lord Wajid Khan of Burnley, I know what every single one of you was thinking. Where is Burnley? I still don't know. But can I ask you to show your appreciation to our friend from the north, Lord Wajid Khan? And for those at the back that don't know, so our dear sister Seema Malhotra, who's come from Feltham and Heston, was asked to speak for 5 minutes. And as she approached the end, Tan started going like this. Because in Tan's left hand, he was speaking to John MacDonald, and his right hand, he was asking to Seema to speak for longer and longer and longer. Now, Seema's had to go for another event, but we will pass on. Can you show your appreciation, please, to Seema Malhotra as well? And I think Mr. Lodi explained why Tan's dearest friends are here today. And I'd ask you to remind yourself of this. Not only is this marquee very, very diverse, but Tan's close friends. 2017. Listen, I was friends with Fiona as well, don't get me wrong. Fantastic friend, a fantastic colleague. But as Seema said, Tan has put Slough on the global map. He's educated people about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. They weren't aware about it till Tan educated them about that massacre. He's explained about the Golden Temple and what happened there. He's taken non-Sikhs to Amritsar. It's so important. I've met young people across the globe.
Please, beloved, he helped me in 2016, 21 and 24. Loved him, thank you, loved him. Thank you, brother.
And here's the important part I want to say this, look. John was in the trenches with me in 2016 when I fought the very first election to be mayor. And it was the most racist, Islamophobic campaign. And you know, John's fought many campaigns that we've experienced. It was a horrible, horrible campaign. And what it brought to the surface was the Islamophobia, anti-Muslim hatred, and racism. And many of you have experienced this, whether you're Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, or Irish. And what makes me really proud is not the Muslims that jump to my defense. That's, of course, I'm very proud of them and I'm very grateful. It's the non-Muslims. The Labour candidate, and with your support, the next MP for Slough, Mr. Tan Dhesi. We can do better, come on! Come on!
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And look, I am truly indebted to you, but before I come to my thank yous, what I want to say, first of all, is after 14 years of failures, after 14 years of this Tory government, I think people across our country, people in Slough, have made up their mind. They want change. They want a change of that government. Somebody who can push the government of the day to say, look, we want more funding, we want more resources for our town. We want to improve our town, which has been overlooked for the last 14 plus years under this Tory government, while rather than engaging in levelling up, rather than helping the most vulnerable and the most in need communities, like many of those communities within Slough who need the assistance, they have been funneling money